Hey everybody, my name is Brent Ellis. I am an amateur astrophotographer out of Memphis, Tennessee. And today I'm starting on a new adventure. I've been strictly using refractors for basically 6-ish years of doing astrophotography. And now I'm going to try something out that is new to me. This is the Celestron EdgeHD 9.25. So it is an SCT type telescope. So I'm here in my messy office, I'm gonna open it up and kind of take my first look at it, and then while I'm waiting for accessories and things to come in, I'll be hopefully putting this together over the course of the next day or two, and then hopefully I'll be able to get it out and actually use it under some clear skies. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by opening this up. Let's see what we have inside. Alright. Well packaged, arrived quickly. I ordered from High Point Scientific, so that's where I order pretty much all my big stuff from. Alright, so let's see what we've got in here. We've got a 50mm finder scope in the box. Pull that open and take a look. Simple little finder scope. I don't anticipate to use that, but it's nice to have. I also have a 2-inch star diagonal. Let's see, this box up. Nice. This is the 2-inch star diagonal. This would go on the back of the telescope if I were using it for probably visual purposes. Again, not really planning on using this, but nice to have, and a couple different pieces in this box for it. All right, now let's get to the fun part. I like how these are cut in half. I don't have to lift the whole thing out of the box. Okay. Here we go. So this is a good size telescope. Let's see if I can get it out of the bag here. Looks like I've got a little handle grip down here, so that'll be useful in kind of lifting it up. Go ahead and set it this way. Nothing in there that I need. Looks like I just got the instruction manual in there, so I think I'm done with the box, but alright, so I've got the box out of the way so I can get a little bit closer look at this. So again, this is the Celestron EdgeHD 9.25, so it's got an aperture of 9.25 inches, so 235 millimeters. So definitely my widest aperture telescope so far. My biggest refractor is 127 millimeters. This is an SCT style telescope, so it is different from my refractor. The light inside of it bounces off a couple mirrors. It uses some internal moving mirrors as its primary focus capability. Again, different from my refractor, so you'll see this one's got a little bit more of a bulky build than the refractor, which is like a long single tube. That's because the light's coming in and bouncing off of the mirror system before ending up where the camera will be back here in the back. So yeah, pretty excited for this. Again, this has a focal length of 2,350 millimeters, and then my biggest refractor is 952. So that is a lot more aperture and a lot more focal length than I've ever had before. So definitely looking forward to using this on some deep sky objects, a lot of really good galaxies that'll fit nicely in this, as well as planetary. So I've been kind of pushing the limits with what I can do with planets with my refractor, using either a 2.5 or a 5x power mate. It's not really built for that. It's worked and it's been good enough, but this is going to hopefully give me some significantly better results. So this has some great optics, star bright high performance coatings. So that's kind of right there on the side. But yeah, I'll be doing a couple things to this. I am going to replace the orange out of the box dovetail that came with it. I've got the Losmandy base I'm going to put on, as well as another Losmandy bar I'm going to put up here on the top so that I can mount some different pieces of equipment to it. So I'll be setting that up. I've got a dew strap and a flexible dew shield I'll put on. Definitely that's a problem where I live, so I definitely want to be prepared for that. I am going to be setting up a Baader focuser on this, so it's going to kind of look and feel a little bit more like a refractor for me. Did a little bit of research online, decided that's the way that I wanted to go. I don't have to use that style of focuser, but it's going to allow me to lock the mirror and kind of keep that stable, and then I can just use that focuser and an auto focuser on that. I've got a Pegasus focus cube I will be putting on here. But I'll be kind of putting together the different components there. I am going to be using an off-axis guider for the first time. So I'll kind of walk through what I do to get to the appropriate focal or back focus. It's a little bit different than a refractor. I am going to have to come out pretty far. I believe the focal point I'm going to try to hit is 146.5 millimeters. So kind of doing the math, and I've got the equipment there, so I'll kind of walk through how I get to that point. And then, yeah, we'll see what else I do at that point. But this is a super impressive looking piece of equipment, so I'm really eager to get started with it. Pop off the lid here. All right, wow, that is pretty. So just kind of looking at the front glass here, you can see the Star Bright coating notification. It says EdgeHD optics, 9.25 235 millimeter with the Celestron logo, focal length 2350 at f10. So it is a little bit slower than my refractors at f10. I am going to be looking at getting the reducer when I'm shooting. There's a 0.7 reducer. I'm going to be looking at that for when I'm shooting deep space like galaxies, and I think that'll bring me down to about an f7 and a focal length somewhere around 1600 1700 millimeters. So still really powerful, but I can use it without it in the near term for that super long focal length. Might just take a little bit more time to gather all the light that I need. But this is a beautiful piece of equipment. Really looking forward to getting this kind of decked out and getting first lighting. So glad to show you what I do and how I set it up. And thanks for coming along for the ride. I almost missed hiding under the styrofoam. We have the setup to put the finder scope on, so we can attach this to the outside of the tube, and then also comes with a couple of eyepieces. So I don't really do visual, but it's always nice to have a couple of these. So from Celestron, luminous premium eyepiece. So again, if I do any visual, I'll have an option in my back pocket. So.
Alright, so one of the items we're going to look at here, I ended up picking up the Baader Diamond Steeltrack Focuser for the SCT. This is going to give my EdgeHD a little bit of a refractor feel to it, but it's going to allow me to lock the mirror, and then I can use a traditional focuser experience. Don't have to do this, but a lot of my research, I just kind of felt like this would be a more comfortable decision for me. I've seen some issues with mirror flop. I don't know a lot about those details yet, but as I get used to working with an SCT, I think this makes sense. So kind of pulling this right out of the box, I just opened up. So on initial grab, taking out the bag here, this is a nice substantial focuser here. So right on this side, so I will put this onto the opening on the back of my edge. Let's see, so I've got the focus knobs here. I'm going to replace this one and put on my autofocuser. We've got, this up. Alright, so that's really nice and convenient. So I've got rotation right there on the unit. That's going to save me some back focus from the manual rotators that I typically use. So that is a huge plus. And then we can extract this out. So I've got a little, I think this is a 2-inch opening here. That piece. So I can use a compression ring to hold equipment, but I'm actually going to be taking this off. Let's see if I can unthread this real quick. Okay. I'll figure out how to get that off. I'm going to replace this component with a direct M48 adapter. And that's going to allow me, instead of using the compression ring, I'm just going to thread right into the unit here. So what that's going to allow me to do is get some of this backspace back. So it's going to give me about an extra 10 millimeters of backspace, back focus spacing. And if I need to use it, great. If not, I'll kind of be able to leverage the focus tube here to achieve the back focus that I need. So pretty solid looking piece of equipment. I'm excited to put this on. Alright, so to take this adapter off, see if I can loosen these up. So there are 6 little headless screws in here. I don't know if that'll focus, but I'm going to take these off. Make sure I don't lose any of them. Two. This will be 3. It'll take long to do, but just a little tedious. There's 4. 2 more. That's 5, and last one. Oh, not there, right there. Okay, so again, what this will let me do, those in the bag in just a second, should be, there we go, to take off that entire piece. So looks like it's about a 2-inch there, and then just a compression ring on the end. But what that allows me to do now, and cut into this box. 1 second, if I can do this without cutting myself. Alright, so this is, I might get an M54 version of this too. This is a little threaded adapter with an M48 threading here. But basically, I am going to get it back in place here. Okay, so it's not going to screw in. I'm going to have to use those same headless screws that I took out and put those back in, but I'll do that in a second. But just so you see again, so what this will replace that compression ring with just a threaded M45 right here. So we will get a little bit more solid connection to my equipment. So switching out the compression ring for threaded adapter. So I am going to go ahead and do this before I put this on the edge. I'm going to go ahead and set up. I've got my Pegasus focus cube 2. I use these on my refractors as well. So I've got another one. I'm going to set this one up here on the focuser. I'm going to go ahead and do that now so that I don't have to worry about it once I put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to work on taking out some of these. Let's see, where do I need to connect it? Just loosen up. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the coarse knob here. Take out a couple of these that these little screws that I'll use to connect my adapter. Those out. And I'm going to go ahead and take this tension bolt out as well, and see how far can I go with this. I may take them all out. I'll see once I get this knob off. Let's see if I can find the right size. And I'm just going to loosen this one up. Should allow me to take the entire knob off. Almost got it. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. So got the knob off here. Make sure I hold on to that. And we're going to be looking at, open up my little bag of adapters here. And so what I'll need to do, basically it comes with these little adapters that will go on to this part right here that'll will spin with the electronics. So one end is going to go on like that, and the other end is going to go on over here. So I just have to find the one that is big enough that will work. Make sure I don't lose any of my little pieces here. That might be it right there. Just make sure. That one is pretty big. Try these out for a second, see if I can find the right one. I'll pause and come right back. Alright, so I got two options here. I've got one that doesn't go in very far, and I've got one that does. I'm going to try the one that does and see if that'll lock it in. Should just be able to go like this and tighten it up, and that'll get it to catch. So it's got a little bit of wiggle to it. I'm not sure I like. Try this other one real quick and see what I think about it. Again, it may not be a big deal, but I do want it to be snug. And that one may not even go in far enough to catch, so. Alright, I think this is gonna be the one we'll make that work. Should be solid once I get the other side in, which is fine. Okay, so I've got that in place, and then we will put our bracket in on this side. Help if I loosen up our adapter first. That's going to go in there, and then let's see, is that right? Okay, so essentially we're going to be locking it in right here. So I've got my position. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up so I know exactly how tall it's going to be. Use my little adapter. I don't have my little Allen wrench individual screwdrivers, which would make this a lot easier, but this will work for now. Got that locked in place, so again, that's just going to give me the exact height that I need here for my focus cube. And then what we are going to do is we're going to slide that in, and let's see, I think I will use some washers to make sure that we're catching. So, do I have decent size washers? got one here that'll work. Make sure I'm lined up. Right size. May not be long enough to catch. Let me find a different one. Alright, so the fun thing always looking through bolts, you always got a bunch of these things to go through. Find anything that I want that is the right size, so I am going to make these work. So I got a couple bolts, got some little plastic spacers and washers, so I'm going to use these instead, and I think that is going to give me enough space to lock us in here. So that's going to work. Let me see if I can get one on the other side. Well, make sure I am aligned, and then I will tighten this up. So maybe I'll find some better bolts that I don't have to do this with, but this is going to work perfectly for now. Alright, so there we go. I've got to tighten that down a little bit, but as you can see, so I've got my focus cube now attached, the little adapter there, so that'll tell it how to spin, and we will be ready to rock and roll. And this is new for me as well. So with the longer focal length of the SCT, I am journeying into my first experience with an off-axis guider. So I picked up the Askar M40 or M54 off-axis guider, and open this up. Loosen some papers, and what this is going to allow me to do is basically attach this unit. So let's pull this out and take a look at it. Alright, there we go. So here's the Askar OAG. I'm going to basically thread this into my imaging train, and you can see it has this little prism inside of that. So it's going to pick up some of the image that's coming through, so I don't have to use a smaller guide scope and camera. So my camera is going to go right in here, so we'll figure out what the focus looks like there, but it'll go right here in the top. And then I will thread this into my imaging train. Let's see, so I know I've got an M54 on this side, so that's going to go right into my my filter wheel. And then, let's see, actually I was doing it the wrong way. So this is going to go toward the telescope side. On this side, this is going to go toward my filter wheel and my camera setup. Let's see what that looks like in a minute. And it came with a bunch of spacers. So it looks like a M54 spacer. Looks like I got an M48 and an M42. And then we have these little adapters. So I think the one I'll use the M54 one. Let's see if I can open this up. I think this is the right one. Yep, so I believe this is gonna go right into this space. So if I loosen these up, So that's going to give me M54 on one end, this is on the telescope side, and then this is going to go into my filter wheel, and then I can tighten this down. This allows me to kind of do a little bit of rotation, I think, if I need to get the prism in the right place and not block the camera. So we'll figure out what that looks like, but a nice little adapter here. I'll just slot right in here, and then I guess I'll tighten it down. So that's kind of what that looks like. Cool. Alright, so I have pulled off my camera setup that I typically use on my refractors. And what I've got is the ASI 2600 mm mono camera. I've got it directly attached to my electronic filter wheel here, and this is a 7 by 2 inch filter wheel. And then typically what I do, because I move between devices, is I've got a standard kind of 55 millimeter back focus setup here. So I've got, let's see, I think I've got my measurements here. So I do take the 5 millimeter tilt adapter off the camera itself, so I don't use that. I've got 20 millimeters here on the filter wheel. I've got a little 9 millimeter spacer, and then I use this blue Fireball rotator to basically do manual rotation. I don't have an electronic rotator, but depending on how I want to frame up the image, that's typically what I'll do. So for the SCT, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. The rotator, since I found out, is in the focuser that I got, the Baader Focuser, and I do not have to use that, so I can take that off. Again, just a nice little M54 focuser, or a rotator. And then I also have this spacer that I am going to take off, so I'm not going to need that. I may introduce another spacer. I'll take this off screen a second while I try to get a grip on it here. Okay, that took a little bit longer than it should have, but I got the adapter off, so now I have my camera and my filter wheel, and so this comes with a M54 opening. So I'm going to use this little M54 adapter. And we'll go ahead and just kind of get that in place. And see if I can get my spacing decent. And then I have the OAG now, so my prism right here, so this is going to go on the telescope side. So that means I should be able to fit this on. And what I've got, so the prism is supposed to go on the long edge of my sensor from my research. So I've got it aligned here. It'll kind of pop out the top, and I'll put the camera in there. But I've got that basically aligned, and I will go ahead and tighten down these little knobs here. Make sure those are good and tight. All right, so now I have my OAG attached here, and I've got good alignment, so we'll figure out what I need to do to get my camera in there and all that other fun stuff. But from a spacing perspective, I have a little bit different back focus than I usually do on a refractor. So I'll probably try to figure out what this looks like if I'm going to continue to use OAG on my refractors, but otherwise I've actually got a good bit of back focus available on the Edge. So we'll see what that ends up looking like, but real easy to go ahead and get that installed. Alright, I'm going to start by taking off the dovetail that came with it, so I've got it setting here in the box for now while I wait to get my Losmandy dovetails, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this off. Alright, so at the time of doing this, I was going to replace the bottom dovetail that came with the Edge, which is this one right here. I was going to replace this with a Losmandy one, but unfortunately it is currently lost in the USPS system, so I'm running a little bit behind, but what I did get is the top plate that I'm planning to attach. So again, this is a pretty beefy Losmandy style plate. It's pretty heavy, but it is as solid as they come. So I'm going to use this to attach stuff to the top of the scope. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put that on, and then I may have to flip it back over again and put the original one back on if I want to use it, but otherwise I'll figure out where we currently are in the shipping process. So I still don't have a good clean table space at the moment, so I'm working out of the box. I'm going to try to see what this looks like. Start by just kind of rotating. Alright, so this is my top. I don't know if there is actually a top versus a bottom, but this is what I'm going to be designating as my top. And so it looks like it is a screwdriver. Phillips head screwdriver that's holding those in. So let me switch a couple of things out here. I'm going to take off this screw. This one coming off. Take this one.
these dovetails, it looks like there's two connection parts on the back and one on the front. So I'm going to take a okay. Set those screws aside, make sure I don't misplace those. And so the way this is going to work is I've got a couple of these attaching blocks. So I've got one that's going to go right there, and then another one. So we've got curved end on one side, flat on the other. And that one should just go there. These elements, they're all the same size. I believe it's this one. Alright, so let me figure out what size I need here to go ahead and attach these. So these just kind of screw right into place. So I'm gonna make sure equal here. Okay. So that attaches pretty solid. Grab one more. So the Losmandy one that I got came with a couple of pieces of hardware, so we've got the right size bolts here. I've got some thicker ones. Don't need those, but they work for what I need. Maybe that's for one of the bigger edge. The one connection, so I can make sure I get that tight enough. Okay, so I've got that secured in, so now I'll be able to attach this, so it looks like set it up like that, and so it's flush on the front, the back is going to overhang a little bit, and I answered my own question. I know why these are here now. It's because I have to attach the bar to what I just put. So let me pull these out. And I'm just going to go ahead started. Got them positioned.
size again. Just tighten these up. Now I have a solid Losmandy plate on. Again, I'm going to put the other one on as soon as I get it. And that will work for the bottom. One of the nice things I do plan to do with this, I did pick up a nice ADM handle. There's probably some cheaper ways I could go about doing this, but for now I've got some Losmandy clamps here. I am just going to be using this so. Just gonna throw this on for the time being. And this is going to give me a nice, easy way to grab and carry. So it feels super solid. I'll work on getting the bottom dovetail on, and then I'm going to be ready to start attaching stuff. Alright, so I've got my edge up here. I did go ahead and put my turn around here. I did go ahead and put my orange dovetail back on the bottom because my Losmandy one is lost somewhere in the mail at the moment, so hopefully that will be arriving imminently. But I'm going to go ahead and take a look at what's next here. So looking at the back, do a little bit of reading. So I know this is going to be my mirror focuser, and these will lock the mirror in place. But I am going to go ahead and take a look at taking off this component and getting my Baader Steeltrack attached here. I think I can thread this on as it is. These stick out pretty far. I'm wondering if I have to take back off my focus cube. Should have maybe measured that first, but I'll go ahead and take a look here at what we need to do. So start by taking these off. So it looks like a little 1.25 inch adapter there. That little adapter, set those aside, and yeah, this is now exposing this thick threading. So look at how I'm going to attach this. So I do have, this is a little bit different of a backing, so let me see the best way to attach this. Alright, so first I thought this thing came off, but it turns out that's not the case, so I can actually unscrew this adapter. Yeah, so that goes on the back of the see inside there, see the mechanism and everything. And then this whole unit is going to thread right on here. So, let's see. I'm not sure if I can do that with the focus cube attached. That's going to get me stuck a second. So, should have tried it out. I'm going to pause. I'm going to go ahead and take this off, then I'll put it back on. And we'll take a look at getting this on. Alright, and I'm back. So, took that off real quick and easy. So now, I should be able to thread this on no problems. Tight on there. So that works. I can loosen this and I will set this up for angle right there. So a little bit of luck. So the focus cube I was using has a pretty thick connector. I actually have another version of it that was on my larger refractor, so I can actually stick this on the refractor. This has a skinnier base, so this should allow me to connect and not worry about hitting these knobs. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together, and that way I don't have to worry about it. When I get the 0.7 focal reducer, which I don't have right now, that will bring this out even further, so then it's definitely a non-issue. But if you don't have it, it looks like that will be a challenge. But luckily this skinny adapter is going to make that work for me. Alright, so there we go. I've got this reconnected back up, and go ahead, actually I'm going to rotate it. Go ahead and get this back on. Bottom tightened. Just testing, I do have full range of motion around my knobs, so that is good. Nice. Here. Not quite straight. Let me readjust these. Okay, so after some finagling, we're good. I shifted my spacer out a little bit, so now that gives me full rotation around the knobs. So again, I typically only shoot at 90 degrees or 0 degrees, so it's not a huge deal, but I did want to make sure I could clear that out. I'll probably shift that back in once I get that focal reducer. Maybe, I don't know yet. But in any case, there we go. Baader focuser is on. Focus cube is on. Mirrors are locked. And now, what I can do So the focal length I have to reach is about 146.5 millimeters. So this spacing takes me to about 82, and I will be using the focus tube. So I can't get this out since I attached the focus cube. I can't pull this out, which is fine. But I'll be using the extension here to reach that right number, and then I'm going to take my camera again. So I've got the camera, the filter wheel, and my OAG here, and we're going to work on getting this attached. If I can do that. That may give me trouble. My OAG is not tall enough to clear this. I wonder if I'm going to have to use a little bit of a spacer to make that happen. Alright, let me look at my spacer options real quick. Alright, so after some messing around and figuring out what I needed to do here, so I figured out, I don't really know how OAGs work, but I can push this prism up, and that's going to give me clearance up here that I otherwise was not seeing. So this whole unit will move up and down. So originally I was not clearing my focuser, so that's going to be a problem. But loosened up my automatic focuser. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and that should allow me to just thread my camera. And then that's going to point right up, so let me rotate this back. And then I've got the camera, the OAG on the bottom, and the filter wheel. Rotate it, the focus cube, the focuser, and go ahead and pull that back in. Should be in pretty good shape to make this work. And then when I need to rotate, I can just rotate the entire unit. All right. So that should give me what I need. So let's see. So this was 79 millimeters out to the focuser. Then I have my OAG 19.5. My filter wheel is 20. This is 12.5 to the sensor. And then I can move my focuser out to cover the remainder, so that should give me the 146, I guess technically right here, the 146 millimeters to get to that focal point. Alright, so I'm skipping the part where I tried to figure all this stuff out for my wiring, and I'll just kind of jump right to showing what I've got. So what I've got, again, with my top-mounted Losmandy bar, so I've got the handle over here on this side, and then toward the front, what I've done is I've got a little 3D printed plate that goes on, attaches to the bottom of my MeLe Overclock 4C mini PC. It just looks like, here. It just looks like this. I use a version of this to attach to some of my refractors, which are sitting over there at the moment. but it just kind of screws into the bottom of that and then allows me to just kind of attach it onto different plates. I've got little thumb screws right here and then another one back here that I'm using to just kind of keep that solid. And then I have my Pegasus PowerBox that's going to sit right on top of that, held in place by Velcro. I use a little mini router and I've got that held in place by Velcro on the side, so sometimes I use this, sometimes I don't. If I need to, I just take it off and unplug it. And then the little weather adapter on the PowerBox, I just got sitting right up here on top. So my USB and power all comes out this side. So what I've got, I did 3D print a couple of these little doodads, if I can focus here. This is one of them, but just a little cable clip that I have attached, one on this side and then one on this side. So most of my cables that are going to come out and power all my equipment are going to ride along the top on this side, come down and plug into my focus cube. So this goes to the mini PC, this one goes to the power. Also coming around to my camera. So this one goes to the mini PC, and this one goes to the Pegasus PowerBox. And then I will have, out of the back of the ASI, I've got my cord going to my focuser, and then in my open, I've got one more open USB spot back here that will go underneath into my OAG when all said and done. So all this stuff powering equipment just kind of kept here in a good nice little bundle, and then going through this little clip here to just kind of keep them from drooping down or getting in the way. And then on this side I've got a couple that'll come down. I've got a USB and a power adapter that will flow down to my Wave 150i, which plugs in on this side for the saddle. So we'll see what that looks like when I put it all together. But this is how I've got my equipment kind of mounted up here. I think this is going to work for now. I'll probably clean up a few of these things as I go along. May look to eventually move, I don't know, I might try to put the power box and figure out somewhere to mount it here and the mini PC over here. That might be a way to move it to the back, but for now this is going to work pretty well for me. On the front, I did put on, just kind of put the dew strap right here. I do have a dew shield that I'm going to put on, and then this will go over that dew shield, and then that just plugs right here into the front of the power box. And yeah, so that's what I got going on. Hopefully this works out for me.
Alright, so looking at how to combat dew, I've got a couple of options. I did grab the long dew strap option. I use this on everything else and it always works like a charm, but my refractors also have the hard dew shields on them, which makes that really convenient. I did pick up a flexible dew shield that I actually don't think is going to work. So I picked up the Celestron one, kind of show it here, got the Celestron logo, and it's really nice and strong material, but one of the big problems I have now looking at it is we have this giant notch on it, which usually would work out to just kind of fit that on with that dovetail on the bottom, but since I'm adding extra equipment, extra dovetails, it's actually not going to work. And I can try to get creative and maybe cut out some extra notches and try to thread it up underneath there. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I may actually look at returning it. I'm going to mess with it. I know I've seen some people say they can turn it around like this. So that's another option for me I'm going to play with, where I can just going to try to attach it right here on the end. So I've only got maybe an inch, and just kind of real quick what that kind of looks like. Something like this. So I got to figure out how to get that tight. But again, one of the challenges is I've got this notch. Again, I don't know if that would be a problem for dew getting in. I do think it would be a problem when I look to do flats with this thing. If I keep the dew shield on, it's just another, I don't know, mechanism for the light maybe to get in there and mess with my flats. I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to continue to look at this, see if I can make this work. Maybe I can. I may take a look at the aluminum hard shell dew shield as well, see exactly how that goes on and stays attached. But in any case, this extra dovetail that I've added, which I think is a pretty common thing, is causing a bit of a problem. Because again, it's hard to see here, but I've only got about, maybe an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of space right here. But I'm thinking if I get the aluminum one, it should kind of click on here, and maybe it won't impede this. But in any case, I'll play with this flexible one. I'm not sure it's going to work for me, but just wanted to share what I found as I was looking at it.
Alright, USPS finally delivered the bottom dovetail after getting lost in the system, so I'm going to go ahead and add that now. One problem, so they did end up, where I ordered this, they did end up sending me the holy version. I meant to, or I ordered the one that did not have holes, which is slightly lighter. I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's not terribly different, but I don't know, I might have use for the holes later on. So I'm going to go ahead and move the old one out of the way. And let's try to figure out which one of these I need. Mounting blocks attached here. Pretty easy to get these on. But I do want to make sure I've got it centered as I tighten them. It's pretty good. Alright, so once the mounting blocks are on, now I can attach the bar itself. It's just going to go like so. And I'll do this on its side, I guess. It's a little bit easier the other way with the box, but
Very simple. So I'm going to have it flush kind of here on this side, and it'll overhang a little bit here on the back. And just tighten it in. These are all tight enough. Alright, so now I've got my Losmandy dovetail on the bottom. Clear this out of the way, so I'll rotate. Go ahead and remove a little tag here that I have not removed yet. And it's probably a good time to remind everybody, do not look at the sun with a telescope without the proper equipment. And there we go. Carefully rotate this back. But I've got the Losmandy dovetail on, so nice and sturdy on the bottom there. Got the Losmandy one on top. Got my handle going, so now my next steps will be to try mounting this on my 150i, and we'll see what it looks like to balance. Okay, now that I've got my setup done, I'm going to take a look at getting this on my Skywatcher Wave 150. So I have not done this yet. I'm going to start out with a few different things. I am going to go ahead and attach some counterweights, so I'm going to do some balancing. So it's got the Skywatcher 150i. I have this counterweight bar, a little extension. I'm not sure if I'll need this yet, so I'm going to set this aside. Now, I'm going to go ahead and attach that counterweight bar. And then I have got a couple of these 11-pound counterweights. I know that these are going to come in handy, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach both of these for now, and then that way I'll figure out where exactly they go once I get the whole setup on. What I'll be able to do is try out balancing in just a moment. So here is my setup. So all told, this is probably between 35 and 40 pounds. So first things first, try to figure out where my center balance is. I'm going to do that on a table over here. So one second. So how I usually do this, and I can figure this out on the mount as well, but to give me a rough starting spot, I'm just going to use something round on the bottom here. Kind of figure out where my tipping point is. And I've got it, so it's about the 13-inch mark of my dovetail here. So I know that's where I'm going to center this on my Skywatcher. Now I'm going to work on getting this attached in the center. I have centered right at about that 13-inch mark. Get things tightened down here. Alright. Looks good. It's looking good so far. And what I can do is I can actually loosen this clutch and come on this side. It is hard to get under there and turn it, but I am going to. Okay, so I'm loosening this up. That allows me now to rotate here. So I'm able to start to see where is my balance point. And it's definitely heavy on the telescope side. I'm going to move that over. Still telescope heavy. I'm going to bring this back up and lock it. I'm going to bring my extension back over. Got it locked. Go ahead and add the extension bar. So got that attached. What I'll be checking out is, can I do this with the 2 counterweights, or do I potentially need a third? I'm going to loosen the clutch again. Rotate down. Loosen, slide this all the way down. That's actually pretty good if I put it right down here at the bottom. So again, with my setup here, looks like I can get away with 2 counterweights here. When I use the extension bar, that's going to work out well. I'm going to come on back up here, and I'm going to go ahead and relock this clutch. So I don't plan on unlocking this now that I know where that balance point is. I'll just roughly kind of put the weights in the right spot. Make sure I've got that locked in. All right, there we go. So rotate this up a little bit. All right, so this is giving me good balance of the EdgeHD on my Skywatcher 150i. And in one of my previous little clips, so I had tried out the flexible dew shield, and that did not work for me. The notch wasn't kind of right. I could have cut it and tried to customize it. I didn't really want to do that for how much they cost anyway. I did decide to go ahead and pick up the aluminum dew shield. So this thing is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at getting this connected. So take off lens cap, I guess, and let's see how we connect this up. Force it in, click it in. Hop on super easy. I don't know that it's supposed to, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing this carefully. Alright, there we go. This takes a little bit of oomph. get it aligned. Let's see. There we go. Alright, just have to get it aligned and hooked in here, but that clicked on here pretty solid. It does have the notch on the top and the bottom, which is perfect for my Losmandy Dovetails on the top and bottom. So that fits perfectly. And I don't have to worry about cutting or customizing the flexible dew shield at all. So looking pretty good. I like how that looks. Almost a complete package. The last thing in my setup, and I put this on, I tried this out earlier. So again, I do have the heated dew strap as well, which I'm going to be able to just kind of get right here. And I can use it on top of the dew shield. Get this hooked up and rotate. And then this is going to plug right into my PowerBox, which I've got right up here. So there we go. So that'll be the complete package. I like how that looks. Alright, well, I appreciate everybody kind of joining me on this journey. It's been an interesting one as I kind of move on, or add to, I guess, my collection. I'm moving from, again, this is the first telescope I ever got, still one of my go-tos, but the smaller refractor. Obviously this is quite a difference in terms of what I will be trying to use here. Table. But yeah, moving to something completely new with SCTs. I'm looking forward to get this out under some clear skies. As it goes when you buy stuff, it is rainy outside right now. We have clouds, had clouds for the better part of the past week, and I might have a couple windows coming up. I'll hopefully share some of those results as we go along. But very cool getting this all set up. Looking forward to seeing how it works. So thanks everybody. And yeah, clear skies.